Welcome back. I am your host. I'm Attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour here on AM560 the Answer. I'm having too much fun.
We are having a fun.
I get a little crazy with some of those segments. You know?
Well, we had a great guest on for the Trust Radio Network.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
Recording next week. We're going to have Attorney Leahy Sannon.
Sannon is correct.
Back. We had David Hochberg yesterday.
Yes,
last night.
You know, I was saying this on the Trust Radio Network. I learn so much from our guests because they are trusted professionals and they know their craft. You know, whether it's Leahy Sannon, who's a litigator, and he helps people with in federal court, criminal cases in federal court, or we have other lawyers who criminal here in state court, and we have lawyers who help you, you know, with a number of different things. We have the Mr. Floor and David Hochberg and all these guys who really know their craft. And every time we talk to them, I'm just amazed at how much information, you know, what they have that we don't have, and they're here sharing it with us. It's amazing. You
know, we've had so many of these really top. We have professionals at the top of their game.
I agree with that
here, and more are coming. We have a lot of great guests coming up. I know that Tom Sadeka we have in coming
Precision
up
Payroll.
With Precision Payroll. He's coming back on in the future. And we're going to have a really cool one. We're going to have Stuart McVicker on in a couple of weeks, and he does some really cool stuff. You cannot miss it if you're a Cubs fan. There is no way you can miss that.
And I am a Cubs fan.
So am I, but we're not going to talk about that.
But again, you should, if you have an idea of someone that you think should be on our show because he's a trusted professional, you should probably give us a call, 312-664-6649, and we'll take a look at it.
That's right.
Can't promise because they got to be a trusted professional.
You know, you can call Opem Tax Resolution, or you can call me as well, 847-271-3695. You know, either way, we can find a way to get these guests on. Again, you could be a friend right down the street, be like, you know what, that would be kind of cool to have him on. I'm going to refer that business over. Just give us a call, and we'll try to feature the professional.
That's right. So let's do the next segment.
It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
Bam, bam. Okay, so right now I wanted to talk about. Okay, so now I want to talk about people trying to help themselves with the IRS because it happens. You don't always need a lawyer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to say, well, let me take a look at this. I'm having a little bit of a problem. Maybe I could solve this problem myself. So I'm going to direct you to how maybe you can find out how the IRS works, and maybe give you some invaluable information to help you solve your own IRS problem if that's what you're inclined to do. Okay, because not everybody's going to hire a lawyer or somebody else to help them. Some people are going to try to take a look at it themselves.
But even you admitted yourself, Attorney Stephen Leahy, if it's under $10,000
that's
true.
True.
The IRS, then you probably don't need.
And actually, if you're making a fairly good living and you owe less than $25,000, you should probably do it yourself. You shouldn't probably hire someone. I'm going to get a little sidetracked because I got a call from someone, and they owed $8,000, and she was beside herself. She couldn't sleep all the time, and I took. This was last Friday, right before the show, and I sat her. I take a deep breath. Let me show you. I walked her step by step how to solve this problem by herself. She didn't need me, and she was so happy at the end that I could show her how to solve this $8,000 problem that she thought that she was going to go to prison for, and she really did think that. She really thought
because a lot of folks fall into IRS debt, and they're good people.
That's right.
Just things happen. Even Abe Lincoln owed filed bankruptcy.
Right.
Honest Abe.
That's
so
true.
It happens to everybody.
So now what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about what they call the Internal Revenue Manual. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with the IRS, you're generally dealing not with the code, with Section 26, Title 26 of the code. You're going to deal with the Internal Revenue Manual, and the manual, you could find the manual at irsgov.com/IRM Internal Revenue Manual. irs.gov/IRM, and it's going to take you to the Internal Revenue Manual, and you're going to see that there's that there's 39 parts of the manual. Okay. Now, luckily, you don't have to know all 39 parts of these. But if someone sends you, if you're being audited, Part 4 is examining process. How the IRS is supposed to go through the process of an audit. Everything is detailed here in this manual. And this is the way they're supposed to follow it. If they don't follow the manual, well, then you can call them on it. Okay, and sometimes they don't. I got to be honest with you. A lot of times the IRS employee doesn't know the manual that well. Like most lawyers, right? As most attorneys, we use the code, but I don't memorize it. I can't know it all, in and out, back and forth, every section, because it's just too complicated. Same thing with the IRS personnel. They don't know all of this. They may have been exposed to it, but they don't. So what I deal with, as I said, Part 4 is examining process. Part 5 is collecting process. What happens when you're in collections? How does this all work? Okay, and so this is, and if I'm going to just hit Part 5 now, and you're going to see it's a whole huge page of different segments of the collection process. So Part 1, fielding collection procedures. Part 2, reports. Part 3, entity case management systems, case processing. It just goes on and on and on and on. Collateral agreements, trust fund compliance, offer and compromise. This is where it spells out how they process an offer and compromise. So if you're thinking, well, I could pay them pennies on a dollar, go to the IRS manual, look at Section 5.8, read it, understand it, and then fill out the form so you know what they're looking for. The same thing, bankruptcy. If I owe the IRS and I file bankruptcy, how does that process work? It's all here. Seizures, notice of levies. What do they have to do if they're going to take something away from me? It's here. It's written down. There's a process, step by step, exactly the way the IRS personnel are supposed to cover these things. Part 4, 5.14. 5.14, installment agreements. So they're going to spell out what an installment agreement is. What are the parameters on how they're going to accept them? What kind of expenses are they going to let you use? Because it's going to depend on what your disposable income is. Well, what is that? That's all spelled out here in the manual. So I'm going to tell you, it is so to the point, so detailed. It's sometimes mind-boggling how detailed they are. This is the exact steps they're supposed to take. When you're talking to someone at the IRS, or your revenue officer, and you go back and you look at the manual, did they follow these steps? That might be a way for you to appeal a bad decision because they didn't follow the steps they're supposed to. Well, how do I appeal it? Well, guess what? There's a whole section about appeals, how appeals are supposed to work, who does the appeals, what you have to do to get an appeal. 5.15 is financial analysis. How are they going to look at my finances? How are they going to look at it? What can I put in? So again, this is so important because the IRS procedures are right here for you to make sure that they're following. That's what I do when I have a case. One of the first things I do is I make sure that they're following these procedures. And if they don't, I ask for an appeal. And guess what? I win the appeal because I can prove they didn't follow it. So I just had a client who just got levied. They were in a pending installment agreement. They're not supposed to get levied in a pending installment agreement. So it's in right here in the manual that says that. So I pull it up in the manual. This part of the manual says you can't do that. Okay. You're right, Attorney Leahy. We're going to release all the levies. And that's what they did. They released all the levies. And so, again, if you're going to do this yourself, be aware of these rules. It does get complicated. I get that. Sometimes you need a lawyer. That's what lawyers do, is that we go through the rules. But you don't always need one. But if you're going to look for an extension, if you're going to look for an offer of compromise, read that section. It's not that hard to read that section and understand what they're looking for.
That's right, okay? Ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's so important to get in contact with Opem Tax Resolution, and they'll walk you through it. He'll help you. He can't help you if you don't call. So 312-664-6649, or visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show lined up for you today. Our conspiracy theory segment. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So stay tuned, listen to our sponsors, and come right back here on AM560
The Answer.